This is note-taking guide 7.5 for Math 1, so we're still in the middle of these congruence geometry units here. Today we're going to talk about congruent triangles. So there's a couple of rules that we need to know. It says the definition of congruent triangles is two triangles are congruent if their corresponding parts are congruent. So if angle A is equal to angle A, angle B is equal to angle E, and angle C is equal to angle F, then we have all of the angles that are congruent. Then we would have to also have sides that are congruent. So we'd also have to have this side's congruent to this side, that side's congruent to this side, and the third side's congruent to the third side. When we have all the sides and all the angles congruent to each other, that's when we have congruent triangles. So this first example says use the drawing to complete the statement. So they have to be written in the same order. So A has to be congruent to D. They have to be written in the order of congruency. So over here it says PQR. So from P to Q to R, so we're coming this way around. So P has 3 markings in the corner, so I have to start with the triangle that has the corner that has 3 markings in the corner, so L. Then I have to travel along the side that has 2 markings to the side that has 1 marking. So travel along the side with 2 markings to the one that has 1 marking. So my next letter is J, and then my last letter can be that K. So we have to write those letters in the same order of their congruency in order for them to be congruent triangles. All right, using statement TJD is congruent to triangle RCF, complete each statement. So angle T has to be congruent to which angle? Well, angle T is in the first position, so I have to use the letter in the first position over here, which would be angle R. Angle C is in the middle position, so I have to use that one in the middle position, which is J. So we're going position to position here. We don't even have to look at the shape because we know that they're written in the right order. D is the last letter, so it's going to be congruent to F, which is the last letter. TJ is the first 2 letters, so I'm going RC. CF are the last 2 letters, so I got to go the last 2 letters, which are JD. And then DT is last to first, so last to first, which is F to R. All right, this next example asks us which side is included between 2 and 3. So this is important to know because on our rules we're going to go over in just a minute, you have to know which is the included side or which is the included angle. So we're looking here at angles 2 and angle 3. The side that would be included would be the side that would be in between those 2. So that side that's included would be BC. Then right here it says which angle is included between AB. So AB and AC. Well, that angle that would be included would be angle 1. So we have some rules that we're going to go over for some of our triangle congruent stuff. The first one is called side, 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 which we represent with SSS. And that is when 2 triangles are congruent if the sides of one triangle are congruent to the sides of a second triangle. So all sides are congruent. So we'd have side, side, side if all 3 sides of the triangles were equal to all 3 sides of the other triangle. That would be side, side, side. If that happens, we know the complete triangles are congruent to each other. Okay, the next rule is for side, angle side. That's represented by SAS, side, angle, side. 2 angles are congruent if 2 triangles are congruent if 2 angles and I'm totally blowing this right here. It's called side, angle, side because 2 angles are congruent if the 2 sides and the included angle of one triangle are equal to two sides and the included angle of another triangle. So we're looking for side, 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 or side, angle, side would be a side, an angle, and a side. Would have to be congruent to a side, an angle, and a side. So the included angle it has to be. The next rule is angle, side, angle, so ASA. And that's when two triangles are congruent if two angles and the included side of the triangle are congruent to two angles and the included side of a second triangle. Gosh, I'm spelling included wrong too. I'm having a rough time this last few minutes here. Let me rewrite that so it's right. Included. Okay, that's angle, side, angle. All right, so what we're going to do last of all here then is we're going to look at these and we're going to decide if the triangles are congruent, and if they are, by what theorem are they congruent. So I have one side marked congruent to one side. I have an angle marked congruent to an angle, and another side congruent to another side. So this is a side, an angle, and a side. So a side, an included angle, and a side. When we list our triangle congruents, remember they have to be in the same order. So if we go A, C, B, so from A to C, and then from C to B, then that's the way we have to go in our other triangle. So A is up here at the top, so we got to go E, G, and F on our congruent statement. All right, the next one, triangle ABC is congruent to which triangle? So here I have a side marked congruent to a side marked congruent to a side, and a third side marked congruent to a side. So that's side, 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 where I have three sides congruent to three sides. So I got to look and see which order it was written in. So I go A, which is A to B, which is 1, and B to C, which is 3. So I'm going in the order of the markings 1, 3, 2. So I got to go 1, 3, 2. So I'm going Q, R, P. And remember, order does matter on these, so make sure that you're getting the right order. Okay, next one. I have an angle marked congruent to an angle. I have a side marked congruent to a side. And I have a third angle marked congruent to a third angle. So that's angle, side, angle. Then I just have to check my congruence. So I go B, C, A. So from B to C to A. So from right angle to pointed angle to the angle that's not marked at all. So right angle to pointed angle to the angle not marked at all. That order is going to be E, F, D. And that's actually, we only have one more problem left on this page. I thought that might be over the last time, but I messed up. So I have one side congruent to one side. I have one side congruent to one side. And I actually, if you remember my vertical angles rule right here, I have this vertical angle equal to this vertical angle. So I actually have a side, an angle, and a side. So we're going to say that these are congruent by side, angle, side. And then I just need to mark my order. So CAB. So from the vertical angle out to the one marking to B. So from the vertical angle out to one marking to, so we're going to go CED for my last solution. All right, you guys, there's a lot of information on this note-taking guide, so if you need some help, come see me. Thank you for watching, and have a nice time doing your homework. Good luck.